Okay, now we can get started to create some sketches so that we could came up with this body right here. And as I have mentioned earlier, I have started the process of creating some sections of the aircraft before I record this video. And also I will be following certain dimensions that I have already established here. But don't you worry, I will be breaking them down step by step to the process so that it is clear and easy to follow. And also an important reminder. So aircraft differs in different shapes and forms. So it is important always before starting any sketches is that you need to analyze the body on how you would construct it, or or where will you start this sketch so that you could create a body. So for me, what I did here is, okay, let's hide first the bodies here and analyze this. So for me, I've analyzed the aircraft, and I've said to myself that I would always go at the easiest part of the aircraft, or at where the easiest shape that I could make. So for me, I have started at this point here, so we could see a line that's already sketched here, and up until here, roughly about here. The reason is that because when we're looking at this, it only, or this shape only, like, is similar to a cylinder. So it's a good starting point, or it's a good base for a shape, so that we could create the other portions of the body of the aircraft. So here, looking at the model that I have created already, it consists of 3 bodies already. So as I have said, I have created first the sketch here at this point, and then extrude this to create a cylinder. And then next part is that I created another sketch here, and then just lofted or stitched these two um, two sketches right here to create this shape, or we should call it the engine section. And then the third body is, let's just call it the cockpit section. So I have also created a sketch from here up to here. So for me, that's how I started the sketches to create these bodies. But let's start with this, as I've mentioned. So I'll be going to the to our clean sketch right here. And since we are familiar with the offset tool already, I'll be creating another offset tool. So under construct, offset plane, offset the plane from the front face, which is this one, and then drag and hold this until this portion right here. We'll just align it just right here. And then as I've mentioned earlier, I have already specific values that I have set already, so I'll just be inputting it right here. But in reality, I also did like estimating where I would place this, for example right here. There you go. But since I'll be imitating the model that is already created, I'll just be typing out the specific values. That's gonna be 13,371.963, and then okay. And then again, we really can't see where the plane is, but don't worry, it's right around here, and we could confirm that the plane is created, since a while ago it is only up to plane 3. Now it has created the plane 4, which is this plane right here. I can't really solve this issue right now why the plane doesn't really um, appear at the our workspace, but maybe I'll try and troubleshoot this if I could make this work. So we could create the sketch now here, and then we'll select plane 4, which is the sketch that we have just made. And then I'll just switch to the front view. By the way, a quick reminder again, by rotating view, I'm doing this by pressing shift on my keyboard and also holding or pressing and holding the mouse wheel, then dragging my mouse to rotate the view. You could also do it here at, at this portion right here. So you could click on this and then orbit. I hit on once I'm happy with the view, so I just hit escape on my keyboard. Or we could also do it here at the view cube here. So again, just a reminder. Now I could start creating a line. I'll just switch to the front view, and then I'll create a line right here. So this time will only serve as a construction line or like a guideline for us to, or for later on we'll create the ellipse or the first shape for our aircraft. So what I would like to do is when we have created the line, I switch first to the right view, and then I click on the point and drag it where this would align with the top portion of the body. The same goes here. Okay, so it doesn't allow us to select this point and drag it to match this or the bottom part of the aircraft because it is currently snapped at the origin point. So what I would like to do is just create another line, and then just create a horizontal line, and then I'll trim it so that it would disconnect or unsnap to the origin point. And then I'll just delete this one, and then there you go. And then we'll just drag it right here just to align it at the belly of the body of the aircraft. And then again, this is the last time that I'll be repeating myself. Since that I have already the dimensions, I'll just um, copy the dimension already right here, so that I could just imitate the model that I have already made. So this line should be, the length of this should be 1661.531. So for me, I'll just create a line here. Okay, sorry. So it doesn't show the sketch because we're at the front face. So we need to switch to the front face. And then I'll create a line here. Then offset. I'll just offset this line, and when I'm hovering around this, it's already de detecting that I'll be offsetting these two lines. This is happening because at the offset window, it's currently selected as chain selection. But if I uncheck this, and then if I hover here, it would just select uh, the horizontal line only. If I also check it again, or select chain selection, then it would read this too because it is currently connected, or it's reading it as one single line. So just uncheck this since I'll be only doing this, and then I'll offset it negative 1661.531, and then hit OK. I'll just use the extend tool Okay, then hit escape to exit the extend tool, then select this line, we don't need this anymore, then select. Okay, now the second thing is, once we have created the vertical line, we could create the horizontal line, so that for the second guide of our circle or our ellipse that we'll be doing. Before we do that is, I'd like to get the center point of this line that we have created. By doing so, I'll go again at the create tool. Under create tool, I'll select point, and then I'll go here at the line or hover around on it, and then to find the midpoint of this line, you see the crosshair right now, it's currently it's showing only as the X. But once we have find the center point of the line, you would see that the crosshair has a triangle, or the X has a triangle beside it. So again, if I go here, you see only the X. But if I go here, okay, you see that the X or the crosshair has already the triangle beside it, indicating that we are already at the midpoint of the line. So I'll select it, and then hit escape, and there we go. Now we'll create another line, which is gonna be a horizontal line coming from the midpoint of our vertical line. So I'll create here, and don't you worry about this right now, and then I'll hit escape. And then again, same procedure as the other line. We'll just need to drag and hold this just right around here at the outline of this body. So it is a good practice as well that you always switch views at your canvases, so that you could match the specific sketches that you are making. So you see a while ago, when we have created the vertical line, we are switching views. So we are at the front view, and then we are switching to the side view or the right side view, just to make sure that it is currently aligning with the with the canvas that we have. So same as here, same scenario. We're creating the line first, then switching views, and then we're dragging and holding this point, and then matching it at the outline of the canvas. And then once again, because I have already the specific dimension, I'll just have a specific side for this. I'm sorry, have a specific size for this horizontal line. So again, I'll just go with the offset tool, and then I'll offset this line. So that's gonna be 866.476, and then I'll hit OK, and then I will extend this line, and then I don't need this, so I'll just select this, left click on my mouse, select delete on my keyboard, and then this is the only lines that we need. So a vertical and a horizontal line. Now I'm going again at the create tool. Now I'll select the ellipse. I'll select the midpoint of our construction lines. I'll select the second point here, and then I'll select the third point. Okay, so let's repeat that again. I'll just hit Ctrl 0, undo it. So create ellipse, midpoint. Doesn't really matter where you select the second point, here or here. Just make sure that the first point for the ellipse will always be the center point. So if I select it here, and then it would still be the same, or what we are aiming to have this circle right here. And there you go. And then before we finish our sketch here, we need to make this line as a construction line. Why we need those is because when we do not the vertical line and the horizontal that we have made, when we do not make this as a construction line, if we extrude this body or later on, this will only read that the shape that we're trying to extrude are some of these portions. But if I create this as a construction line, so if I select this first, and then at the sketch palette I hit on the line type as construction, and then the vertical, so select and then construction. Okay, here you would see that when I hover around this base or at the inside of the circle, it's reading it as a whole, not as a division of, because of the lines a while ago. So again, if I do not make this as a construction lines, the vertical, you would see if right now, if I would hover around it, it's reading as a whole circle. But if I undo it again, and if I do not make those lines, you would see that if I hover around this circle, it's reading that it has a three sections, because there is a division, which is the vertical line and the horizontal line we have created. So it is always important to make sure that you make the lines that we have created as a construction line. Well, sometimes it doesn't really matter if we will just extrude it. We could just select the edge right here. But I'm just teaching this because it is also important, or this would be useful in the future as well. But it's for me, it's also okay to leave this, as we're just creating a surface tool. So later on, we'll just extrude this side. So okay, let's just leave it as it is. So I'll finish the sketch here, and then now we could proceed on using our first 3D tool, which is extrude tool. So I'll be extruding first our first shape, and I'll be extruding it right around here, just right about here. But since I have told you again, I have the specific dimension or this size, I'll make this 4600, negative 4600. Well, if you extrude it at the other side, it's positive 4600. But since we're extruding it to basically match the shape of this, so it's gonna be negative 4600. And then hit OK. There we go. We have created the first section of our body, or the body of our aircraft. So if I go here, so that you could just have an idea, I'll just turn on these sketches here. So you would see, if I use this inspect tool, so if I measure, you're wondering the specific sizes. So these were the sizes that I have already have. Okay, so the length of the line we have created is, okay, inspect tool, measure, select the first point. Okay, that's 1661.531, and then if I measure it here, okay, and then to measure the extrude that we have just made is this. So inspect, there you go. So now comparing to this, we have copied the exact shape or the size, the dimensions of the model that I have already created. Okay, now we are ready to proceed with the second body, which is this. I'll just hide this first. So we now have this, and we'll go with this body. So for this, it might seem to be, the shape might seems to be complicated, but it is not. It's only composed of this shape right here.